I think sports teams are really important to a city's identity, but a lot of times the places they play are kind of detrimental to what you want your city to be. So today we're going to talk about how an NBA or NHL arena can really complement good urban form. And we're going to count down the 10 best examples of NBA arenas that really fit into their city well. And we're going to look at a couple of dishonorable mentions.
Welcome to City Nerd, where we explore the things that make every city unique, and we love top 10 lists.
So when you're inside an arena, they're all kind of more or less the same. They hold 20,000 people. They have luxury suites. They have a mascot that fires a t-shirt cannon. But on the outside, they really have vastly different impacts on how you experience them as a pedestrian, whether you have to drive there, whether they're pleasant to be around when there isn't even a game going on. You want to avoid having it be a dead zone, and you want it to harmonize well with the surroundings. So the problem with an arena is an NBA team has 41 home games and maybe a few playoff games. So you've got a building that's empty a lot of the year, except for when there are concerts or monster truck rallies. So I wanted to look at what I think are 5 different factors that make an NBA arena a great place to be, both on game days and when it isn't game day. So to walk through this, I'm going to take what I think is like a super average NBA arena. This is Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. So the first factor is how well does it integrate with the local land use and urban form? Do the edges of the building come right up to the sidewalk? Or is the arena an awkward shape and it leads to all kinds of kind of strangely shaped plazas that never get used? So the Amway Center does a pretty good job of integrating with the local block pattern. A lot of it comes down flush with the sidewalk, but you do get a couple of these awkward, sort of useless pedestrian plazas. The second thing is, does the building envelope contain active land uses? Storefronts that could be open during non-event times that really help activate the pedestrian space. And the Amway, it just doesn't really have this. If there isn't a Magic game going on, there's just nothing happening in the building. Third thing is it at scale with the surroundings? Or is it kind of like a vanity architectural project that sticks out like a sore thumb and kind of sort of looks good in 5-second helicopter shots, but doesn't do anything for you at the pedestrian level? You can imagine that team owners and city leaders, they love kind of an architectural showpiece, but places like that just don't really integrate well with the surrounding urban form. So you can see that the Amway Center, it isn't particularly beautiful, and it just sort of hulks over all of the surrounding blocks, except for maybe the big parking structure next door. The third factor is it pedestrian friendly? Does it have comfortable sidewalks with street furniture and trees? Does it connect well with adjacent land uses? So the Amway is kind of par for the course. It has nice enough sidewalks, street trees, bollards. But it does have one face of the building that is just kind of taken up with driveways and loading docks and utility entrances. And you'll see that kind of the best of the arenas tend to hide these functions. And then the last factor is the parking footprint. And this can really vary a lot from arena to arena. You can still have arenas that are kind of plonked right down in the middle of acres of parking lot. And on the other end of the spectrum, you can have arenas that are right next to a major transit hub where it's really hard to even pick out where a parking facility would be. And the Amway is kind of, again, it's kind of in the middle of the pack. In the aerial, there are a lot of what appears to be surface parking, but it looks like a lot of that is being redeveloped. They do have a large structured parking, so it's not great. Transit isn't a big thing in Orlando, but it's not the worst, and it's not the best. And with that out of the way, I think we're ready to dive into the top 10. Number 10, we're going to Brooklyn. This is Barclays Center, cool green roof. So right off the bat, I kind of want to ding them for putting in this awkwardly shaped pedestrian plaza, but it's actually kind of a cool plaza, and it's got a new subway station in it. I don't know, it's hard to complain about it. So that's an active use, and then you've got a whole south side of the arena that is completely clad in high rises with active storefronts. And the frontage also has a froyo shop. That's pretty awesome. And then you just can't really see parking lots or structured parking anywhere. Probably exists underground, but not apparent. Number 9, we're going into the Bay Area, not the SAP Center or whatever it is in San Jose, which kind of sucks. This is the new Chase Center in San Francisco, home of the Warriors. Kind of hate it from the aerial. It looks like another one of these kind of round arenas that's plopped down into a square block. But we dive down into it. You know, the frontages are pretty nice on the west side and the east side. You've got light rail running along the west side with active uses. And on the east side, you do have a plaza, but who can blame them? It's got a view out onto the bay, and you've still got more active uses. Number 8, going to Ohio, of all places. And of all places in Ohio, we're going to Columbus. This is a nationwide arena, home of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Doesn't look super promising from the aerial, but man, you dive down to street level, and the building just kind of beautifully harmonizes with the historic fabric of the block on the south side. And you do have kind of this oddly shaped plaza on the east end, but it's hemmed in by kind of this nice old historic building on the north side. So it's kind of nice actually. And it looks like there's a lot of structured parking here, but it's kind of tucked away in the back between the railroad tracks and the arena. So I don't know, they kind of did a good job of organizing the space and keeping the urban fabric intact. Number 7 is the mecca of professional basketball. It's Madison Square Garden Arena in Manhattan. It's honestly a little bit disappointing for this list just because, I mean, it's gonna be on the list because just the sheer amount of urban activity. It's sitting right on top of Penn Station, so it's an active place practically 24/7. But you know, it's a round arena on a square block. It isn't hidden very well. You know, every corner has this awkward shaped plaza to it. It doesn't really have a lot of active street level uses except for the Penn Station entrances. So there's a lot you can kind of penalize MSG for, but the lack of visible parking and the fact that it's on top of a transit center puts it in the top 10. Number 6, this is one that kind of surprised me just because I wasn't paying enough attention to realize where the Pistons and the Red Wings were playing these days, but this is Detroit. It's a Little Caesars Arena. It doesn't look that great from the aerial, but again, dive down to street level on Woodward Avenue where the light rail line is, and just look at the frontage. You know, you kind of don't even have the sense that you're at a sports arena. You look like you're at like a, I don't know, you look like you're at a Whole Foods or something like that, which I think is the right idea. You know, if you have to look up to realize, oh yeah, Little Caesars Arena. And I kind of think that's the way it should be. And you go to the south side, there's like a Google HQ here, and then it's Detroit. So there's a lot of parking and a sky bridge. And then, you know, don't ask too many questions about what was here before they put the arena down. It's Detroit, so it's gonna be a depressing story. Number 5, going to Canada now. This is Bell Center in Montreal. So it's the home of the Habs, the Canadians. You know, it looks great from the aerial. It's squared up to a city block. It even shares a block with a skyscraper. And it gets even better once you go into the 3D and you realize that they have the Habs logo on the skyscrapers. So it's super cool, and kind of going with the theme here, it's practically right on top of a rail station. Fits really well with the local urban context. It's squared up to all the corners. The only knock I would have on it is not many active uses at street level. So you can tell from the street view that there's still plenty of street activity, so it's not a dead zone. It could probably be clad in some more commercial uses than it is now. Number 4, we're going to Texas. No, not San Antonio or Houston. Those are kind of lost causes. This is American Airlines Center in Dallas. Again, it's another one that I love that it fits with the street grid. It's square. It squares right off with the corners, so no awkward pedestrian plazas. The street design is really well done on pretty much every side, but particularly on this side with the protected bike lane, and the pedestrian zone is really clearly delineated. This is Houston Street, I guess, or they call it Houston here? Probably not. It all just seems really well designed and well thought out. I guess my only knock is Google Street View sort of doesn't lie, and I don't see many pedestrians around here, so I don't know, maybe that's just Dallas, not the fault of the arena. Number 3, we're going back to Canada. Nope, not Toronto or Vancouver, certainly not Ottawa. We're going to Winnipeg. This is Canada Life Center. I guess the caveat here is that it is the smallest arena on the list. It only holds 15,000. A standard arena is around 20,000 right now. I guess it's a repurposed minor league arena, but it fits into the grid of the downtown so nicely. And then you drop down to street level and there are active uses along the frontage. And street level, it just looks like a normal downtown street with some commercial uses on it. Until you look up and you see banners of hockey players, you kind of don't know you're at an arena, which I think is really the ideal. If you're going to an NBA or an NHL game, you know where you're going. You don't need the arena to announce itself. So yeah, I love this one. Number 2, another arena that's right on top of a train station. This is TD Garden in Boston, home of the Celtics and the Bruins. It is super interesting. Again, if you're going to an NBA or an NHL game, you don't need the arena to announce itself, and man, this one certainly does not. It's essentially plopped down right on top of North Station, and it's completely enveloped by active land uses. I guess they call this location the hub on the causeway. This was the original location of the old Boston Garden. I mean, look at it. From the main pedestrian entrance, you kind of have to squint and crane your neck to even know you're at the arena. You would know that you're at the North Station first. Anyway, well done arena on top of a train station. New York, take note. Before we get to number 1, which you may or may not be able to guess, let's do dishonorable mentions. So on my list, I've got San Antonio, Ottawa, Calgary, and this is just a shame, Philadelphia. What are you doing? It's one of the great cradles of the sport of basketball. It's one of America's great historical cities. And this is where they play. It's like a checkerboard parking lot with a arena plopped down in the middle. What year is this? Just cantilever over some tracks near the 30th Street Station, build an arena, call it good. And number 1, we are going to the nation's capital. This is Capital One Arena. Apparently you cannot do cool 3D flyovers in our nation's capital. Wonder why. But this one has it all. It fits into the DC street network nicely. It's got active land uses just about all the way around, including a metro stop right on the corner. It's totally at scale with all the surrounding land uses. It doesn't have any awkward, pointless, wasteful pedestrian plazas. So to me, this is probably the ideal type of downtown arena, although on another day you could probably talk me into TD Garden. And that's your top 10. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.